Welcome back, Capital F football fans, to the O&O Sports YouTube channel. Today, we are going over my big game predictions for Week 4 of this 2025 college football season. As always, be sure to like and subscribe and hit the other O&O Sports accounts after this video to be entered into our $100 75 or die giveaway. Link to that will be in the description with explanation to what exactly that is. Essentially, free money. All you gotta do is subscribe and follow on those accounts, and you will be entered. And starting off with Week 4, we have 17th ranked Texas Tech going on the road to face the 16th ranked Utah Utes, who are a 3.5 point favorite. And that means FanDuel has this game at around 31-27 in favor of the Utes. And I think this is the first big test for both of these teams. For Utah, you could argue UCLA isn't really a big test at all. And for Texas Tech, you could say Oregon State isn't really a big test. Neither of those teams look very good to start the year. So I think it's safe to say that this is going to be the biggest game for each of these teams so far. And for both teams, both of these quarterbacks have been electric, starting with Devin Dampier. He is a true dual threat quarterback. He can hurt you with his arm and with his legs very effectively so for both. He is actually the lead rusher and lead passer for the Utah Utes so far this season. And as for Texas Tech, Baron Morton has been one of the nation's top passers this year, leads the country in passing touchdowns so far this season with 900 passing yards to go on top of that. He has been extremely efficient, and both of these offenses have been extremely efficient altogether. Both have solid running back rooms to pair with the quarterback. Texas Tech has a three-headed monster of Adam Hill, Cam Dickey, and Jacoby Williams. And Utah, including Devin Dampier, also has a three-back system, including Wayshawn Parker, who has looked phenomenal this season, and Naquari Rogers. And just based off these defenses alone, this looks like it could be one of the best games all season long, but I think the defenses are what's going to come up big here. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game, but I think the advantage will go to whichever of these teams can make one more big play defensively, whether it be a huge sack, whether it be a takeaway, whether either defense can score points. And of these two teams, I think the more likely here is Texas Tech. They have playmakers all over that defense: Jacob Rodriguez, David Bailey, Lee Hunter, Bryce Pollock, just to name a few of those guys who have that big play ability. And I think we hear at least one of those names in a key moment of this matchup. Those guys are true game wreckers, and I have Texas Tech winning this game 37-34. I have this game hitting the over, and personally, I just like Baron Morton more. I think he's the better passer. I think he's going to have more of an impact on this game. And like I said, I think Texas Tech defense comes up big here. And for the next game, it is 21st ranked Michigan going on the road to Lincoln, Nebraska to take on the Cornhuskers. Michigan is a 2.5 point favorite on the road over the Cornhuskers, which means FanDuel has them winning about 24-21. And I think this could be the most underrated game this week. Michigan looked a bit underwhelming up until last week when they really were able to get it going. Nebraska has been firing on all cylinders since that Cincinnati game in week 1. And like I said, I think this could sneakily be one of the better games all weekend long this week. And in my opinion, this game is a matter of process versus talent. Michigan, of course, is going to be the far more talented team. Bryce Underwood is a phenom. He rushed for over 100 yards against Central Michigan last week. And notably, Nebraska struggled to stop the quarterback run versus Cincinnati in week 1. So a very interesting element to this game already there. But why I say this is process versus talent is Matt Rule has been chopping wood at Nebraska the past 3 seasons. He's really working to restore not only that program, but the culture surrounding the program. Todd is a formula I created to rank and rate teams, and he has Nebraska in the top 10 both offensively and defensively. Now, you could just say that they haven't played a lot of talent, and they haven't. They haven't played very good teams, but they still have been firing on all cylinders, been very efficient while doing so, and in that Cincinnati game as well. I think Dylan Raiola, Emmett Johnson, Dane Key, and Isaiah Hunter on that offense are able to make plays in this one, but they will be playing a more efficient style similar to how they did in Cincinnati. But the most important element of this game is the fact that I think Nebraska is going to force Bryce Underwood to make plays with his arm. He's going to have trouble with turnovers, and I think those mistakes add up in this one. And plus, this is going to be played at Lincoln. It's going to be the best home environment that Nebraska has seen since Colorado last year. And ultimately, I have Nebraska upsetting Michigan 23-20. I think this is the year Nebraska takes that next step and is able to be a ranked team, something they haven't done in, I believe, almost a decade, if not a decade. I have Nebraska with the home environment at their backs winning this matchup. And next is 22nd ranked Auburn going on the road to Norman, Oklahoma to take on the Sooners. Oklahoma is a 6.5 point favorite, which means FanDuel has them winning about 28-21. And while they haven't looked perfect by any means, Oklahoma has looked like one of the most complete units in the country so far this season. Mateer is as good as advertised, over 1,100 total yards, 7 total touchdowns to start this season. That defense notably has been very good since Brent Venables took over play calling duties. But Auburn also has sneakily been a very solid unit altogether. Jackson Arnold is a playmaker, and what he lacks for pure arm talent, which he has a little bit of, he more than makes up for with his legs. Has shown an ability to take over games with his legs this season, specifically in that matchup versus Baylor. And likewise, Jeremiah Cobb, their running back, has been one of the better running backs in the SEC to start the season. And their defense, similarly to Oregon, has also been very good. They are top 25 in offensive yards allowed per play. And these are two very similar teams overall. Mateer dual threat, Arnold dual threat, solid defenses, solid weapons, solid running backs. So I think this one is going to come down to two things, one of them being John Mateer and the other being Norman, Oklahoma. I think the Oklahoma home crowd takes over this matchup. I think they're effectively able to play 12th man in this one. And I think John Mateer is just the better quarterback overall, going to be able to make the bigger plays later in this one. Don't really trust Jackson Arnold's arm too much to go out and win a game like this. I have Oklahoma winning 28-20, barely covering the spread, but covering nonetheless. And next, it's 9th ranked Illinois traveling to Bloomington, Indiana to take on the 19th ranked Indiana Hoosiers. Indiana is a 4.5 point favorite at home, which means FanDuel has them winning about 28-23. And this is going to be Indiana's first real test. Although you could say Old Dominion is a solid group of 5 team, I still don't think that's the biggest test overall for a team like Indiana. But we do know a lot about Illinois already this season. They go out and beat Duke handily, but that was a bit of a deceptive box score. Duke just gave the ball over too many times and allowed Illinois to just run the score up on them, which made it look a lot more lopsided than it actually was. And there's a lot of questions for this Indiana team, but my main one is, who are they? They obviously lost quite a bit on offense, lost Curtis Rourke, but replaced him with Fernando Mendoza, who has looked very good to start the year. They still have great playmakers, both offensively and defensively, who are going to be able to disrupt this game. But like I said, they haven't had that high quality competition so far this season. Can't really say for sure how great this offense is going to be yet. And Illinois similarly hasn't looked super spectacular, but they have been very efficient. And Altmaier has quietly been one of the best quarterbacks in the Big Ten once again in that aspect. And to go back to the Illinois versus Duke game, in that matchup, I said efficiency beats explosivity, and I still believe that here, but I do think Indiana is going to be both efficient and explosive in this matchup. I have Indiana winning this matchup 30-24, and like I said, I think this Indiana team is going to be as efficient as this Illinois team, but they're going to be able to make the bigger plays later in this matchup to really put them over the edge here. And last this week, it is Florida at 4th ranked Miami. Miami is a 7.5 point favorite coming into this matchup, which means FanDuel has them winning about 30-23. And it has been a rough few weeks for the Gators. They lose to South Florida at home. They go to LSU, and DJ Lagway throws 5 interceptions to really just throw that game away. And now they're running into a freight train in the Miami Hurricanes. The offense has been hyper efficient. The defense has looked so solid this year. I can't even believe it. It doesn't feel real. And honestly, they could be the top overall team so far this year. They've looked like the most cohesive unit overall, where other teams have struggled either a little bit on offense or a little bit on defense. And realistically, I don't think this Florida team is out for the count. I know a lot of people have written off Billy Napier and this team overall, but I still think they have a little bit left in the tank. But where a lot of people think this game could be a blowout, Vegas has it only at a touchdown on the spread. So could there be a little bit of swamp magic left in Gainesville? Overall, I think Florida will bounce back in this one. I think DJ Lagway will look a lot better. I think Jaden Baugh will play better as well. That Florida defense will continue to play well. They haven't looked bad at all to start the year. But overall, I don't think any of those things will end up mattering. I still have Miami winning this one by 2 touchdowns, 31-17. I think there is at least 1 degree of separation between these two teams. One has looked elite, the other not at all. And while I do think Florida's defense will come to play in this one again like they did against LSU, I think this Miami team is just the better squad all around. And with that, thank you for watching. As always, be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy it. And remember to check out the other accounts to be entered into the 75 or die giveaway for a chance to win $100. And I will see you in the next one.